Well, it looks like I've come around to another moment where I'm going to be needing to make some art as self-love and taking care of myself. So I just started some doodling, but the doodling is a part of relaxation, and I always have to do that first to to just have like a starting point where I can forget about whatever's been on my mind. And, whether that be painting or doodling. When I paint without really having any plan. Then I color, or let's say, just, I don't know what to say, but just pick colors and just paint or do things to make the piece into an art piece, here I am just doing that. But the goal that I have ultimately is to give myself what I need emotionally, and I'm thinking about that already now as I start to do my work, my little tiny little art project here. So I'm already thinking about that, and I already know that I need to give myself some grace and show myself some love. That's what I'm feeling right now. Instead of writing sentences with what I need, or what I, using I as the subject, my sentences need to, for me anyway, need to start with you. So I need to use you as the subject because it's part of a feeling of giving something to myself or allowing something of myself. And so that's why I'm thinking when I do my sentences today, they are going to have you, well, you as the subject, or, like literally in the subject, or implied, like as a suggestion. Anyway, and that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about how I'm going to... I don't know where I got that color over there before. Oops, that was wrong. Well, anyway, I don't know exactly how I'm doing that, but let's see. So while this is drying, I wanted to actually lighten it up instead of darkened it. Yeah, so because for me, the writing is, I don't want it to be covered up. I don't want the writing to be covered up. I want the writing to be center. That's what I want to showcase. I don't want to cover it up with the art because I want to maybe go back later and read what I wrote to myself. Right? So I want the the art to be here as a background, right? So just basically a background, and what did I do with my paper towel? I already threw it away. Yeah, so I'll let this in a moment dry while I think of my sentences. And then I'm just going to take a fine tip pen and write myself sentences. So another thing that I want to say while I'm doing a few sentences, let that dry, is get a piece of paper that I can write on. One thing that I have to say is that the sentences have to be, I have to feel like the love or the forgiveness or the grace or the, let's see, acceptance is like I have to feel it in the whatever sentence I choose to write. And so sometimes I write a lot of sentences and I only keep 2 or 3 of them, you know. So I'm trying to think about what sentences could get me near the feeling that I'm trying to give to myself. So I'm just writing, you are enough. You do the best you can, given the circumstances. You don't need to make the right decision every time. This is what I'm getting a little hung up on. I'm getting a little hung up on this, so I had to write this. You don't need to make the right decision every time. It's called being human. Give yourself grace. You're figuring it out. You're figuring it out. Let's see, be happy with yourself. Be happy with yourself for taking the time to listen to your feelings. Sometimes it's hard to know what decision to make. But there's no judgment. There's no judgment here. No labeling. Just the next step. Okay, I'm pretty happy with what I wrote. My main central idea was to give myself grace. So give yourself grace. That lets me off the hook from feeling guilty about a decision. You are enough. You do the best you can given the circumstances. You don't need to make the right decision every time. It's called being human. Give yourself grace. You're figuring it out. Be happy with yourself for taking the time to listen to your feelings. Sometimes it's hard to know what decision to make, but there's no judgment here, no labeling, just the next step. Wow, I actually like all of that. And I only have a tiny little small little space to write that on because that's how big the art was that I made. I mean, so at this point, yeah, it's almost dry. And at this point is when I would pick out the sentences that I want to write. I like all of them. And I could technically just write. Let's write smaller. So, yeah, maybe I'll do that. Okay, so I'm just going to try to do it quickly. You are enough. You do the best you can. given the circumstances. You don't need to make the right decision every time. You don't need to, like, the world's not going to end. We all move on. Let yourself off the hook from that. It's called being human. Everything doesn't have to be so serious. Give yourself grace. Let's say also forgiveness. But you don't even need to forgive yourself for something you didn't really do wrong, because it's not like right or wrong. It's not about right or wrong. Be happy with yourself. For taking the time to listen to your feelings. Sometimes it's hard to know what decision to make. But there's no judgment here. Just the next step. Exclamation point, there you go. I'm going to have these sentences in my mind as I go about the rest of my day and really let them sink into myself, because it helps to maybe solidify the lesson I want to understand and learn, and then let it go. And this is all the process of me trying to be lighter and not take everything as so seriously, which has been my tendency over the years. Okay, hope you enjoyed. Bye.